It's working. Cool. I like the hoodie.
Hey, game recognizes game. You know what I'm saying?
So we know, unfortunately, you're a Penguins fan. So you're a Mets fan, right?
I'm all over the union with my sports allegiances.
Are you a Yankee fan? Because that's a Jeter hoodie.
No, that's why I take a lot of shit whenever I wear this. I am on the other side of the tracks as far as New York City goes.
But I didn't show you the best part. Not only is it this,
Oh, dude, that's dope.
this was a graduation present from my then girlfriend, Javon, in 1997. So this is 23 years old. I think this is maybe the fourth time I've worn this.
Dude, I tell you what, I don't mind the Rangers. Mainly because they've just never really been a threat to us. And like if you don't love that 94 team, you're just not a hockey fan. So
Exactly. All right, so here's where I wanted to start. I wanted to start by telling a quick little anecdotal story. And this is not a pat on the back for you and me. This is simply acknowledgement of people doing work. And I wanted to name them specifically. When you look at people like my buddy Kevin Wall with his Fulfilled Purpose, you look at somebody like Beth Ann Kempf who's doing live. You know, she held 11 people. I was on there last night. She held 11 people on her live for half an hour talking about how to take the proper iPhone selfie. I mean, she did that. Pam and Herb, what they're doing, they did a virtual tasting with the Canandaigua Lake Wine Trail last night. They had a huge Zoom call. That was incredible. My friend over at Breathing Space Studio, she just set up her Facebook page for the first time in the last 6 weeks. She's gone live. She's giving virtual stress relievers to people. That she's actually doing the work. So people are just, again, we've talked about this a million times, and I'll drive it home again. Everybody just got pushed off a cliff. Everybody. And the people that are doing it are the ones that are going to have the parachutes, and the people that aren't doing it are the ones that aren't going to have a parachute. You know, now that we're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, we're starting to see how we're going to come out of this. You know, we're going to talk about the new normal here in a minute, but we're still going to have time at home. We're still going to have at least another 30 days that we're stuck at home, probably more than that in New York. My point is, the people that are doing it are just laying down a longer runway to get to where they want to go, but there's still time to do the things that you want to do. The time is still now, because when the opening of the world happens, it's going to be hard to sit down and go to YouTube and say, how do I do an Instagram live? How do I do a Facebook live? What are you seeing in your network?
A lot of that really. We're working on a lot of stuff now, both with current clients and even with people that were gonna be new clients in March and April, where we're essentially working on their 90-day ramp up plan right now.
Yep.
So that I think what's gonna happen is it's like anything. You know, the more work you do now, the more prepared you're going to be when you can go. Yep. And the less work you do now, the more that avalanche is going to hit you when it happens.
Yep.
So that's kind of what we're trying to do with a lot of people, and even just people that aren't in our network or not necessarily in our client portfolio. We're trying to lay as much groundwork now, because while we don't really have like a tight idea of when everything is going to kind of reopen, I think it's pretty safe to say that it's pretty much going to be a reverse of how it shut down as far as how it opens.
Yep.
So, you know, if we can kind of operate under those assumptions and kind of lay that plan out, basically just get everybody ready so that when they make announcements, we just flip the switch on stuff instead of sitting down and being like, okay, shit, what are we going to do? That's kind of where we're at with everything. And I think the people that are going to succeed through this, I think that's kind of what the mindset is, where, you know, depending on who you talk to and when you talk to them, people say that the worst is over or that we're right in the middle of it and now we're kind of on the downslope or whatever. So I think it's just looking at facts and being prepared. It's as simple as that. And it's frustrating because we don't always have a lot of facts, and some of the facts that we have are somewhat contradictory. So just kind of trying to figure out a way to be ready and figure that out. Yeah, it's weird. It's a lot of work. It's a little overwhelming, but it's exciting.
It is exciting, and I think that's where the opportunity is. This is Cassie, everyone. Hello.
Kaz.
She hates it when I pick her up, so I'm going to put her down. I think that's it. Is this thing's going to look a lot different. So I think the title of this stream is appropriate because this is what everybody's talking about. Is what does this thing look like in 6 months? So if we take the assumption that New York is going to start into, because I studied this stuff last night because I want to be well informed with the facts. In 30 days, we head into what they're calling phase 1 of this reopening. And that's going to be, no gatherings over 10 people, no schools, I guess they said like gyms, restaurants. But of course they said you can't have those bars open. The gyms and the restaurants, yes, but no, you can't have those bars. But that's what it's going to look like in phase 1. It looks like that's going to last, from what I understand, 3 to 4 weeks. So if we tack on May 15, 4 weeks, we're into June 15 already. And so then if we hit those matrix that they're talking about, we're then into June 15 to go into phase 2, which if my understanding is schools that weren't previously closed can remain open, et cetera, et cetera. School's done for this year. I don't care who, it's over. I don't see how they get these kids back together. So then it's going to be groups of under 50 and then social distancing when it comes to restaurants, bars, things like that. So that puts us into the middle of the summer, and then you got to look into September. So my question is, 6 months from today puts us into October. So what do you think the world looks like on October 15, and what kind of businesses are open, which ones are still closed, and then we'll get into kind of the next level stuff.
Yeah, so I think that it's going to be just that. I think that looking at bars and restaurants, because those guys have been front and center on a lot of this stuff, and rightfully so. I think that it's going to be kind of that mirror image of how they shut down. At first it was reduced capacity, then it was further reduced capacity, then it was no capacity, then it was just takeout, and then now, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I think that it's pretty safe to anticipate that is how it's going to roll out. I think a lot of it's going to be reactionary to what that does to numbers. Right. Everybody has a different opinion of how important or how legit they are. Yep. But whatever, the people making the decisions are really the only people that matter right now. Yep. So I think that that's it. I don't think that you're really going to see normal restaurant and bar life probably the rest of this year, because if you think about it, for this ramp up or phase plan to go through, by the time you get to the middle or end of October, you're getting back into regular flu season. Right. And especially where we live. So that's going to bring just a whole different wave of, secondary panic where, if it's just normal, it's not going to feel normal because of everything that we're going through now. But I think things are going to change a lot. Right. 6 months is a long time when it comes to habit and routine forming. Yep. So kind of when you think about it in that regard, who knows? People might find favorite new restaurants in this time that are really crushing it on their takeout game. We talked about it last week. Owners and GMs and business owners might decide like, fuck, I don't need to write this rent check every month. We haven't missed a beat over 6 months. Some people are going to open up and do the exact same thing that they did this time last year because it's where they're at. Yep. I think everyone's going to be in a different spot. I think it's going to breed a lot of innovation, and I think it's going to breed a lot of stubbornness that people just want to show that they've done it this way for 40 years and, they're not going to be told otherwise. So I think it's going to be weird. I think it's going to be a very long, very slow process. And I think nobody really knows anything yet.
Right.
It's one of those things where everything is going to kind of be very fluid and very reactionary.
So if you just got wiped off the map, if you are, so this, the three specific examples are a winery in the Finger Lakes that is predicated on making money, meaning the owner has to have 150 to 250 people walk into their tasting room every Saturday. That is how, you know, and we talked about it. If today is October 15th, tomorrow is Saturday, I would typically have 20 buses of people waiting to come to my facility and hopefully buy thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars of wine every single Saturday. You know, October 15th is the perfect time to go to the Finger Lakes and go to these places. It's pictures, it's wedding season, it's all of these things. That's the first example. The second example I want to give is you are a restaurant owner and you don't know what it looks like then. What can you do over these next 6 months? Today is October 15. I'm only allowed to have, instead of having 50 tables in my restaurant, I can only have 10 tables in my restaurant because we have to keep 6 feet apart. The third example that I would ask is it's October 15th. I am a European travel agent. I don't even know if the flights are open yet. I just got completely destroyed. My entire business just got flushed down the toilet. What would be your advice for the winery, the restaurant owner, and the European travel agent?
That sucks for the travel agent, man. My initial response to all of them, I would plan as if today, this is what's going to exist in October. I would plan for this, and then I would basically make myself adjust as things happen. Because I think that the big thing, especially for those first two, for the winery and for the restaurant, the biggest thing that I think you're going to have to do is let go of whatever romantic attachment you have to what you've done so far. Because the world you did it in, like, doesn't exist. And frankly, it's not gonna for a while.
Yep.
You know, so I would start thinking about, you know, for the winery, like if I'm not heavy into e-commerce, fucking figure it out. That'd be step one. And then like what I would look at, like the way that you traditionally made money with those bus loads of people, like by definition is not going to happen this year. It's not. It's off the table. Let it go. So like what other kind of things can you do that are going to be more socially distanced and more acceptable for people, that is going to kind of put you in a place where you can start generating some revenue. And you know, that's something that's going to take some time and some thought and some innovation. You know, do you set up higher end tastings for no more than 10 people? You know, make it a more boutique experience. You know, is it virtual wine tours, kind of like what the Raymores did, where you set up a weekly or monthly box style club, and then you go through what would, you know, be a normal tasting. I think anything like that, just stop hoping and wishing for what was and look at what is.
Yep.
You know, restaurants, I wouldn't plan on making any money in my dining room this year.
Right.
I wouldn't, you know, and then that way it's the kind of, you know, plan for the worst, hope for the best.
Yep.
If you're planning in your forecast budgets for $0 in revenue from your dining room, and then it ends up opening up a little bit, even late summer, early fall, sick. That's a bonus. But like any restaurant that isn't completely tearing down their menu and rebuilding it to be a takeout and delivery business, you're just like,
yeah,
wake up, man. Like it sucks. It really does. It's not fair to them. It's easy for the, you know, the digital marketing kid whose life hasn't changed that much at all to be like, suck it up and figure it out. But what's the alternative?
That's exactly it. I think this time, if I owned a restaurant, here's what I would do. Very, very tactical advice. I would, so everybody's pushing, takeout Friday night, Friday night, Friday night. Like tonight, Siobhan's gonna text me at 3:30 and she's gonna say, where do you want to get takeout tonight? And it'll either be Lincoln House, which does a great job, Braylock, which does an incredible job, Kaz Sports Bowl. It's gonna be one of those places. But how can they carry that momentum through the dead space? Because this is gonna be a long, long dead space that we're entering into. Here's what I would do. You said it exactly. Take that menu of 75 things and bring it down to 3. So you lower your overhead, you lower how much food you're bringing in the door, all those things. What I would also do is the chef is still there, the sous chef is still there, and the owner is still there. What I would do is I would show my chef, I would go Facebook Live Friday afternoon. Friday afternoon, I would go Facebook Live with the chef, and the chef is doing step-by-step instruction of how she is making every single of those 3 dishes. Like, give you the recipe. Here is my recipe, how I make it, and I'm going to show you live how to do it. Because somebody's going to go, well, somebody's just going to make it at home. Guess what? No, they won't. Because it's much easier for me to do this. Hello, Lincoln House, can I take your order? And I want to watch it. Here's the other thing I would do. I would record those on YouTube and put those on YouTube. And then I would also do figure out SMS text database. Figure it out. Because that is where the world is going. Get a database together of all your customers that have ordered today and in the future. And then Friday at 4 o'clock, you can tie a credit card. You can tie your credit card to your texting. You can do that. And you can tie videos. I showed you that video yesterday with that brand I'm working with. How cool was that? We had the artist talking to everybody that was on SMS to say, we just signed a new artist. Can you imagine the chef doing this, saying, I'm going Facebook Live at 3:30. If you'd like to place your order, just tell me how many of the chicken marsala you want. You type chicken marsala, the number 4, you've just charged your credit card $85. It'll be ready for pickup right there. So to your point, you need to look at your dining room. You need to look at your tasting room, that anybody that walks in there, that is gravy on the mashed potatoes. Your mashed potatoes right now is building a database, marketing to that database, giving them value, and taking the friction away so that they can buy your product easily. That's what you do.
1,000%. And I'll take it one step further. One other thing that a lot of restaurants are struggling with through this is, how much stuff do I order? Because obviously everybody is so cost conscious right now.
Yep.
So like, how about that? Make your content about what you're making. Make that be tomorrow's special and say, hey, we're doing pre-order only.
Yes.
Text in your order before this. And then that just makes it so much easier to plan, to prep, to order, everything. And it makes everything easier for the customer. They're not stuck on a busy phone all day, calling in 3 times. So like, that's the kind of innovation that you got to be willing to invest in.
Yep.
Time-wise, energy-wise, and dollar-wise. Like that's just where we're at. And guess what? Like we're talking about, we get into October, November, people get used to just being like, shit, how easy is that? All of a sudden, rather than Siobhan having to call you on her way home and decide what we want, what do the kids feel like, then you have to call in an order, and then it's busy, and you got to call back, and you got to do the whole thing.
Yeah.
You guys already know because you saw the video. Oh, shit, that's Taven's favorite. Yep, okay, get that. She literally, one text message, it's ready before her car started.
Right.
That is easy to get excited about as a rep.
It's like you said, it is the new normal. The other piece of tactical advice I would give, it's a little bit more of a stretch because it's going to take a long time, just like what you and I are doing. We're trying to build a library of content so people can go back and hopefully binge watch it. They see one post on Instagram, they're going to go back and listen to hopefully all 15, 20, 30 episodes. Which
they are, by the way. Are you watching the views on YouTube? They're going back and watching all of them every time we put a new one up.
It's crazy what's happening. It is crazy. Guess what? It works. It works. I would do the exact same thing. If I owned a restaurant, if I owned a winery, if I was a European travel agent with 35 years of experience, I would sit down with a microphone and I would talk. I would simply talk about my experiences. I would take out a piece of memorabilia. If I'm the chef and I'm the owner of the restaurant and I go to the chef and I say, listen, I'm going to ask you a few questions while you're prepping the chicken marsala. I'm going to ask you a few questions. We're going to package it up into a podcast and we're going to send it to people. We're going to post it. We're going to do all of these things. Because here's the punchline for that. If you continue to grow your podcast, whether you have 2 viewers or 2 million viewers, there will come a time, it may not feel that way right now, there will come a time where you can put together a very simple slide deck, a little one-pager, pitch deck, and you can email it to the local, stove company, the local kitchen equipment company, the local Cisco Foods, or one of the other food companies, to say, my chef has a podcast. Look at this trajectory that we're going on. Look at how many views we're getting. Do you want to throw us $250 a month to put your logo, or for the chef to talk about it, or for the chef to use this specific knife, or the winemaker to use this particular pipette, or just on and on and on. So then all of a sudden, the restaurant becomes the takeout, and guess what? We have this revenue bucket over here that I created. I didn't even know was here. So if you have enough of those $250 daisy chained together, eventually, I'm not saying all the time, eventually it's going to make up for the loss that you're losing in the dining room. You might become a virtual kitchen, takeout, delivery, SMS, podcast, sponsorship business. That is the new world we are now thrown into.
Yeah, and I think that speaks to an even bigger point and a bigger theme for a lot of these people. You know, for the rest of this calendar year, like, there's a decent chance that you're going to have to make some money a different way than you're used to, like way outside the box. And, you know, we talk about it all the time, like those opportunities are there. You know, like we're talking about it now, like could you do, you know, prepackaged, like there's 1,000,010 things you can do, but all of it is predicated on being able to let go of what got you here, which we talk about all the time. I struggle with daily, you know, but I think that's kind of in a weird way, and this is just me speaking personally, one of the kind of silver linings of all of this is it's literally giving you no choice. There's nothing to debate. There's nothing to pontificate. There's nothing to hem and haw about. This is the only option. So that, for stubborn people like me, makes it a lot easier, because there is no choice.
There is no choice. There is no choice. And I think it's putting yourself out there. That's why the breathing space studio, I'm really, really proud of her. And I'll be honest, this was a person that I've talked to maybe 3 times in my entire life. And she reached out to me. She saw one of these videos. She reached out. She goes, do you mind if we just do a 15-minute Zoom? I go, no, that'd be great. I took 15 minutes out of it, and she is going Facebook Live. She's helping people relieve stress virtually, because talk about being romantic. This format right here, this is going to be an acceptable human interaction moving forward. And again, it's romanticizing sitting down for a coffee with somebody, sitting down for a beer with somebody. I get that. I miss that. You and me, I mean, we're bro huggers. I mean, that is who we are. And that is one of the things I desperately, desperately miss. But think of how much more efficient you can be to use these tools. You can have 10 of these a day. You can only fit in 3 coffees. You can have 10 meetings like this. So you're right. You have to let that stuff go, because if you sit there and romanticize, the other thing you're doing is you're doing this while you're doing it. You're wringing the hands. You're saying, what if, what if, what if? No, just go try a podcast. Go and fail at your podcast. Go fail. Go fail at your YouTube channel. Go fail with your chef trying to do those things. But guess what? The more times you fail, the closer you're going to be to the thing that works. The one thing that you do out of the 10 will work. If you're okay with a 90% loss rate, you're going to win. But the moment you crouch in a corner and do this, you're letting the world pass you by. And it is super, you're looking out the window. It is super scary what is happening right now. But what are you going to do? You say this all the time. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it?
Yeah. And I think it's even just looking ahead to the opportunity that it creates at the same time. Like, yeah, man, like you're not going to make as much money this year setting people up with trips to Europe. But like what other knowledge and talent and skills have like you gained over the 30 years of doing that you could put to work on other stuff?
Yeah.
Like I had a call with some people yesterday. The amount of opportunity that's out there right now for like therapists and counselors for like online versions of what they do is gotta be through the roof for everybody. There is not one person at this point that could be like, nope, I'm 100% good. Nothing to talk about. Got it covered. You know what I mean? Like even like me and you, we're in like the top 1% of like lucky people as far as how this has affected us. You know, like shit's not perfect, but I don't know that anybody that wouldn't trade with our setup right now. You know, right. And even then, there's a dozen things that are driving us crazy. You know, so like that's the kind of thing where. Could you have built a business being an online therapist or mentor or counselor 3 months ago? Yeah, maybe, but it would have been hard. Could you do it right now? In a fucking heartbeat. You know? But, okay, are you going to go do it?
Right.
I mean, look at us. Like this show, this is what, 11? We're
so.
11 episodes into this, which, fun fact, did you do that on purpose? Wow.
You think I'm smart enough to figure that out?
No, I was ready to give you props though if you sold it.
No, 11's my number, man.
But so like even this, like I know just from talk, like we've both got inquiries and opportunities off of doing 10 episodes of this. That's nothing. It's a drop in the bucket. And like we're not even planning it. We're just figuring it out as we go. You know what I mean? So like that's the thing where I think as people start to see this and start to see the opportunities that this is creating. Like, yeah, it's killing a lot of other opportunities, but it's creating new ones. You know, the same way that like, you know, Henry Ford killed the guy that made horseshoes. Like, yeah, it sucked for the horseshoe guys, but it's great for the tire makers. Like, are you going to be a horseshoe guy or are you going to be a tire maker right now?
Yep. It's okay. It is. I love that idea about doing a super ultra exclusive 10-person tasting. I mean, that's the other thing. If I'm the restaurateur, if I am the winery, if I am anybody in the hospitality field, I just put together a package that is going to be $1,500 and it's in my private dining room in the back. And it is the best soups, the best entrees, the best salads, the best chocolatiers, the best this, the best wine, the best service, the best this. That's how you're going to make it up. And here's the punchline for that is that you are going to be able to plan for that. You're going to be able, if you have a physical space that you need to market, that you need to pack 250 people in every single Saturday, you're correct. That's gone. That is gone probably for another 18 months until we have a vaccine for this thing. That is gone. But I'm on the phone. I'm opening up the Chamber of Commerce book, and I'm saying, can I please talk to every single business that has an event coordinator or an event planner? I'm going to get in front of every corporate planner to say, when you guys have your top 10, your sales goal dinners, I want to be the person that you think of. Here's a picture of my space. Here's a short video about my space. Here's what we did in our last video. Give one of those dinners away just for the exchange of having the pictures and the videos so you can market yourself to the other stuff. If you're the photographer, you give away a photo shoot. Excuse me. You give away a photo shoot so you can have that content to go do that. By the way, Beth Ann, our photographer friend, is doing the top 10 senior portrait spaces in Central New York. She's doing it. She's doing it. So those are the kind of things moving forward that it is the business you can plan on rather than hang your shingle and hope. Right. That is a strategy, but it's not a great strategy. You know, if I'm the winery, same thing, high end, super, because there will be people that will spend money. We've seen that. You and I are living proof of that people will spend money through this. You know, that's why I don't like that term, open up the economy. The economy is still going. It's just not at the rate that we were 8 weeks ago. So you just have to go find the people that are still willing to pay for it and make it easy, have the services for them to find you and make it easy for them to order your services.
Well, I think there's a lot of parallels with the level of how much the economy's open right now and what we talked about a few episodes ago with the amount of time you have. Like when you make time for important stuff, you're cutting the bottom half of what you're wasting time on. I think the same thing's true for where the economy's at right now. It's still going, but the bottom half of shit that you were wasting money on, that's no longer happening.
Yep.
So now money's still getting spent, but it's getting spent on important, essential stuff.
Yep.
So it's just one of those things that, like, what are you doing to elevate yourself into that essential stratosphere? i.e., are you actually creating value for people, or have you been sitting on your hands throwing fluff numbers at them, hoping they continue to write you a check every month?
Yep. Exactly right. Exactly right. I just think there's so much value comes in different forms. You know, people are texting in Jessica, Dave, Pam, Becky, Kevin, Darren. Thank you all for watching. It's very humbling that you take any bit of time, 5 minutes, to check in on this, and I appreciate that. Value comes in different forms. You know, everybody is very quick to discount a product. Everybody's very quick to discount a service. Everybody's very quick to discount this. That is not the driving factor for a lot of people. If you texted me, if any one of these 6 restaurants in Cazenovia texted me in the next 3 hours and said, here's our special tonight, can I put you down for 4? What do you think my response would be? Not, can I have 15% off of that? No, they took the time to text somebody and say, hey, we would love for you to buy from our restaurant tonight. Here are the specials. I'm going to go back and say, for sure, that's exactly what I'm going to do.
Especially if for the last couple of years, you've been seeing a ton of content and a ton of stories from them where you know who the chef is, and you know they use great ingredients, and you know they make good food, and you know they give back to the community, and you know that they've spent a considerable amount of time, energy, and effort branding themselves to the point where you feel good about supporting them back.
Yep.
I think that's the big thing that people are missing, where, like, I don't know about you, we see it here a lot. People see what's working and then they'll try to do the same thing, but they haven't put in the legwork that these other places have, and it's fallen flat.
Yep.
Like I have a LinkedIn article that I'll hopefully like finish today. And I'm literally writing, like, if you didn't know what brand equity is before this, you're seeing it right now.
Yep.
Straight up.
You are. And the other point I'll make, I'm going to share my screen here, actually. Can I do that from here? Can I share a screen of a screen, or am I going to screw this completely up?
No, that's one way to figure it out. Let's try it, man.
All right, hang on. Let me see if I can figure this out.
Like, I don't know that it won't work.
Can I share the screen of the screen? Here we go. Here's what I want to do. I want to show what my own experience and what has worked for me. So this comes back to my post from earlier this week about being human, about having being a strategy. You know, we've talked about that. I don't know if you can see my. No, I don't think you can do it. It looks like it's completely shut off my live. Uh-oh. Hang on.
I mean, I can see it on our call. I don't think Facebook can see it.
Oh, bummer. All right, never mind. I will scrap that idea. I wanted to illustrate something, but it's not going to work. Well, look at me trying to kill the stream.
Hey, it's all right.
All right, can we still see it? We're going live. We're going to do it live. Oh, what did I do? I think I have to go back to Zoom. Hang on.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, kill this, kill this, kill this. All right, let's try this again. Did that work? Maybe.
Yeah, I think you're. Yes, I think you're back.
We're back. My point was about being human. Oh, there it goes. We lost half the audience. Way to go. Way to screw that up. My point was, 2 months ago, you and I have talked about this, about the way to build brand. About being human is always a good strategy.
Yep.
And did I still kill it?
Yeah, I have black screens now.
Wait, hang on. We're gonna learn not to do this.
No. In theory, it should have worked though. Everybody, we're still here. Don't let the black screen fool you.
Can you hear us?
We got fancy.
Should I end it and start it again?
Yeah, you may as well.
All right, why not, right?
You know how to fix that.
Yep. All right, we're gonna learn it on the fly.
What else is new?
What else is new? All right.
Go.
This is so amateurish. Who cares?
Session went live on Instagram.
Oh, hang on.
God.
What you just say you kept flashing on my screen now. Oh.
All right, let's try this again. All right, we're going back to live. Let's try this again. Man, I need a new computer, dude.
Dude, it's the best investment you'll make. Hey, all right. We're back.
We're not yet.
It says you are.
Am I live again?
Yeah.
I don't think I am.
When you accidentally kill your stream, yeah.
No, that was the old one. I just posted that.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Okay.
We'll edit this out for you too.
No, we won't. We won't edit it out. That's the best. This is the good part. We're gonna eventually have a blooper reel. We're gonna have this, and we're gonna have me attempting to dance. We're gonna have all these things.
I'm on board.
All right. So my story was, when we talked about, being human as a good strategy, months ago.
Are you trying to go live with this? Because I don't think you're live yet.
Not live again?
Well, hang on. I just might.
Oh, hang on. It's thinking. There it goes.
I just feel like this is a gold story that you're about to tell, so I don't want to.
No, I appreciate it.
All right. Yeah, you're back now.
All right. It's on?
Yes.
When amateurs try to stream, take 4. So we talked about being human before and connecting people on a human level, whether you're selling a business or you're selling yourself or you're trying to market yourself or whatever it is that you're trying to do. That strategy has now become a necessity. And the reason it's become a necessity is because, I don't know about you, but I start every single phone call with, how are you? Are you doing okay? How is your family? And I've really begun to connect more with people on a personal level, because you care about their well-being. We talked about it. If you're going to be the Yankee fan, you connect with the other Yankee fans, and I happened to sell computer networking hardware. That was good strategy before. Now it is the necessity today. So my story was, and what I was trying to do when I killed it, and I apologize. Apparently, you can't share a Zoom and share share a screen. I was trying to go to LinkedIn, and here's what I did. I went to LinkedIn. Maybe you and I can do maybe a short video of strategy about how to go through the metrics of it. I went to LinkedIn, and when you go to your profile, there are certain search filters that you can search your network. So you click on your network, you go to these different search filters, and what you can do is go by your alma mater. So I'm a very proud Lemoyne alum, very proud. So I just went to people that live in Syracuse, that attended Lemoyne, we're all alum, and I had a call cancel last Friday. This is I found 45 minutes. So in those 45 minutes, I went to every single one of those people. I clicked on their profile and I sent a direct message to them. I said, from one dolphin to another, I hope you and your family are doing okay during this time. If I can help out with my network in any way for you to gain, one of your goals or objectives or move the ball forward, please let me know. Text me at 315-506-5084. Within, I'm not kidding, within 90 minutes, I had 38 responses out of 50. 38. I had an 80% success rate. And I'm not doing it to succeed. I was reaching out to see if I could help other people, if I can put other people on with my network. So the connecting factor was Lemoyne. Now, I'm one of those people on LinkedIn that I'll accept anybody's invite. I think a huge network on LinkedIn is always a good idea. I know people have different thoughts about that. But my point is, if you're trying to build your brand, it doesn't always have to be, here is why my service is the best. Here is why my product is the best. I was reaching out to check on people, and guess what by proxy, guess what happened to my profile views during the week? Went up 500% over the last. And guess what happened from that? 2 people read my profile, texted me, because that's what it says. The first thing on my profile says, text me here if you want to talk. And I had 3 phone calls this week of people that I've never connected with before. And guess what happened? I got an opportunity out of it because I met the executive director of the Small Business Development Corporation, which you and I talked about, of the Southern Tier. And guess what? They're looking for business contacts and business consultants to help people with their clients, because the government just pumped $350 million into the system to help these people. So they want to retain people to protect their investment, and none of it would have happened if I didn't do that.
It's weird. People think that you're like some like weird hippie business guy when you say it, but like the more you can just genuinely care about somebody, and the longer you go without asking, the more stuff you get. It's the most counterintuitive part of building like a successful, lasting business, but like it's just fucking true, man.
Right.
Like we're like I call it like, and it's funny because like the guys know not to like question it now, but it's like the story I told with you. There's no reason that you and I should have spent the time that we did the first 4 conversations that we had.
Yep.
Immediate short-term life, we were never going to be able to help each other. Just weren't. Stuff didn't line up, but we did. And like, look at it now. And it's the same thing. We signed a contract yesterday with people that we've been talking to and helping out for 3 years. Mm-hmm. Never asked for anything, nothing.
Yep.
Just, they would call us to bounce ideas, all that kind of stuff. Like invested hours into this. There's no expectation, no sense that they owed us anything, something like that. Very similar thing come up. Like, hey, we have X numbers of dollars to do this. Sounds like what you do. Can you do it? And I'm like, yes, we can.
Yep.
Boom. And that's a healthy contract for us.
Yep. The economy's not closed. It's shifted, and it's going to be the people that adapt the fastest that are going to be able to come out of this and be doing really, really well. when this opens up. But meanwhile, there's a lot of economy still out there. So because I killed our stream, Beth Ann actually texted her specific, and I think her specific example, her being a personal, because her photography, so she's a kindergarten teacher here in town.
Yep.
She's a photographer on the side. I mean, it could be a really, really lucrative side hustle. So I think the reason I like talking about her specific situation is because I think a lot of people are doing that. People are sitting at home, they have their 8-to-5 job, but they really want to monetize this side hustle. So we talked about her and gave her that specific advice last week about the 10 specific places, the 10 best places for engagement, the 10 best places for wedding, the 10 best places for graduation, the 10 best places with your dog, etc., all the way down the line. Her question specifically is, and it's just going to be a general question in general, is when she has that content, she takes the 10 best places to do the photos, and she documents it. She's going to go out with her daughter. They're going to go out scouting together and just make it like a Saturday day trip. She's going to go scout all these places. She's asking, where should I post it? Is it on a blog? Is it on a Facebook? Is it a link? Is it an Instagram? What is it? And where and why?
All right. So I'm going to get real tactical with you, Beth Ann. You should really have two ways that you should look at it. First and foremost, you should document as much of it as it happens on Facebook, Instagram, and Instagram stories. First and foremost. I think that's the behind the scenes that we talk about all the time. I think that's where a lot of your magic happens. Tactically down the road, to really make this worth your while, you should set up, I'm sure if you don't have a website, make one on Squarespace or Wix or whatever, and then Google what a Facebook pixel and a Google site tag is. And then once you have those, literally copy and paste those into your website. And then literally what that will do is that when you write your blog with your really great photos in it, have it live on your website. And then what you can do is once you post that on your Facebook and your email newsletter, whatever, every single person, whether they're a parent, a grandparent, an actual senior, whoever that goes to your website, they're going to be put in a bucket that when you get into whenever your busy season is for normally booking those, you can literally spend $50 to $100 and target all of those people with a call to action like, hey, we're filling up, da-da-da. That's tactically, if you want to get real specific on how do we build brand and actually make money off of it, that's how you do it.
Yep. I would take it even a step further, that every time by creating something that is so interesting to everybody, we all know somebody that's getting married. We all know somebody that just got engaged. We all know somebody that's just about ready to have a baby. We all know somebody that has a dog. So you could write that article, and when you sit down, you can open up your phone. People are going to get so sick of me saying this. You can scale you try to scale the unscalable. I have 1,700 contacts in my phone. If I wanted to sell more photography, if I wanted to sell more sessions, I would sit down with a link to my blog, and I would personally text everybody I know and say, I just wrote an article about the 10 best places to get engagement photos in Central New York. Do you know anybody that just got engaged? Do you know anybody that could possibly that I could potentially help? So it's that indirect ask. The only favor you're asking is if you know somebody that does this. It's the same thing that you and I do. If somebody says, if I ever have a downshift in business, and knock on wood, we've been very, very fortunate to push through this. If I ever feel like I need to go out and prospect and do anything, I go to LinkedIn or I text somebody and say, hey, I have a spot open. I have 2 spots open. I have 3 spots open. Do you know anybody that could use some strategic business advice, kind of 30,000 foot level? It works all the time. When I started this brand pivot 3 years ago, that's how I started my consulting business. I texted the first 10 people I texted, because here's the punchline with that. Not only are they going to give you the best people that they're going to be your potential consumers, somebody's going to be like, oh, wait a minute, what about my senior? I got a senior in the house. We need pictures done. Beth Ann, how come you're not asking me? What is it? FOMO, fear of missing out, fear of missing out. What about my guy? What about my guy? So when you sit down and look at it, and you say 1,700 people are waiting to hear from me from Beth Ann to say, do you have somebody in your network that could use my services? You are going, before you get to number 100 in your address book, you are going to be overrun with opportunities.
1,000%. Just that monotonous work. Nothing fancy.
That's it. That's it. All right, last question. Thank you, everybody, for hopping back on the live. We will, it's a work in progress, and that's what's fun about it. But guess what we're going to do? Guess what I'm going to do? I killed my Facebook Live by trying to share a screen of my Zoom by trying to share that screen. So I killed it. So what am I going to do about it? I'm going to go to YouTube and say, how do you share a Zoom screen while on a Facebook Live? There's going to be one person out there that has 17 views that is going to say, okay, I did this and I recorded this, and I'm going to send them a message and say thank you. So let's go back to the original question for the last question. It's October 15th today. 6 months from now, I've started to learn and started to implement a lot of these ideas. And I'm getting frustrated because my podcast has 17 views. I'm getting frustrated because my Instagram post has 7 likes. I'm getting frustrated because 99% of the time people are saying, no, I don't have anybody in my life that can use your services. I already know the answer, but it bears repeating every single day. When you feel down, when you're starting something new and you're not getting traction, what do you say?
I say so there's 2 answers. One is, and they're somewhat contradictory. One is, and we just talked about it, and you just talked about it right now. You have to be willing to learn and change and get better. Saying that you have to do this for 6 months doesn't mean you wake up every morning and then do the exact same thing every day with your head down for 6 months, and then you look up and be like, why isn't it working? Yep. Even like this show that we're doing, we've changed something or added something or made something better every episode, from how we promote it ahead of time to adding in the live function to how we edit the actual video to how we distribute the video after. You have to learn and get better every time. You have to look at the response that you get, and you have to look at what works, and you have to figure out, how do I do more of that? You have to look at what people aren't responding to and be like, why aren't they responding to that?
Right.
And then you have to adjust. And then the other thing, and I actually wrote this note to myself on my whiteboard in the back, don't be so hard on yourself. You have to go into it knowing that you're gonna suck for the first couple times to do it. You just are, and even this, that you and I both, we've had, some good traction and good success with this show, but both you and I have had various versions of this that we've tried in the past that have all flamed out for one reason or the other.
Yeah.
So just because we've found kind of a sweet spot with this, go look at, the different podcasts that we did on KBL. You know what I mean? Like you learned a lot with the stuff you did at the distillery with everybody. So just I think having that level of patience and foresight where it's going to be okay, and just look at it that way. I think that's the biggest thing. Because you're going to be bad in the beginning. You just are. You're going to do stuff. You're going to realize, I didn't realize I said that much, or looked at, when you see it, but you just have to pay attention. You have to learn. And then if you do that enough, eventually you get to a point where it's like,
and that's it. You said it. And that's my last point, just to put a cherry. Stop it. People are allowed to walk past the house. Kazzy. People are allowed to walk past the house. You're exactly right. You are going to be terrible at it. And that's the hardest part, is continuing to push through even when it's not working. Because what happens is we live in, especially now, holy smokes, this means a lot more than it did 6 weeks ago. We live in a Netflix binge-worthy society. And you've heard me say that before. But holy cow, do we live in a Netflix binge-worthy society now? So think of it like this, and I love your term that you say about this, is you get to write your own story. Every episode that you do is another page that somebody is going to find eventually. So that book is sitting in the library that eventually I'm going to go by and I'm going to say, yeah, I want to learn how to make chicken marsala today. You take the book, you open the page, you don't just read one page and put it back on the shelf. You're going to rent the book for 2 weeks. You're going to probably read it in 3 nights, and you're going to know exactly what you want. When you continue to put things on Instagram, you continue to put things on YouTube, you continue to put things on Facebook, you're creating your own book. You're creating your own book that's sitting in the library. See, it's a Jeter thing. It's a good thing. But you are creating that narrative so that when somebody on day 187 finds your stuff, they're going to go all the way back to the beginning and look at how bad this podcast was on one. When it turns out where you and I, once we put the full, you and I haven't even done it yet. We haven't even put the full force of what we do from 9 to 5 behind us yet. We haven't. We just know that 1 hour every week is going to be worth that conversation on October 15th, when that executive or that person that makes decisions about hiring consultants finds us on Twitter or on Instagram. But we would have had to have put in the 6 months of work in order for somebody to figure out who the heck we are, why we know what we're talking about, and why we're considered, I can't stand this term, thought leaders in this space. You have to do that. So if your goal is to fold up and put $20 in your pocket tomorrow by starting a podcast, you're in it for the wrong game. If your goal on October 15 is to put $2,500 in your pocket because your podcast has grown to number 7 on business on iTunes, then guess what? You're in it for the right reasons and you're going to win.
Yeah, and I think, and we always talk about it, and I think it's a good way to put a bow on this one. Look at what we're doing now. If you watch the first episode that we uploaded to YouTube, I think it got like 4 views. The second one got like 6. The third one got like 6. And then what happened, the fourth one got 12. And then, because like I'm a psycho and I watch these things, you go back and look, all of a sudden episode 3 is up to 10. Episode 2 is up to 10. Episode 1's up to 10. And then all of a sudden the same thing where like you look at it and it's like, oh, episode 10 did 37. Oh, wait, 6 is up to 35. Wait, 2 is up to 31. So you extrapolate that and it's like, I get it now.
Yep.
Because you and I have approached this with the right mentality, what is this show going to do? Don't know yet. Don't know. Don't need it to do anything because this is building for the future. So the mere fact that we're doing that, 2 months from now, we're going to be laughing that I thought 37 views was good. But I think having that level of patience and vision and continuing to get better, because then that's the other part about it. You get these real-time analytics on everything. So it's easy for us to be like, shit, this is worth the hour for us. This is worth adding in the logo. This is worth us doing the Instagram stories before and then distributing it on Facebook and LinkedIn, linking to YouTube, because we're getting that positive feedback on everything. So I think just keeping that in mind and literally just get more today than you got yesterday.
Yep.
You don't need to go from 1 to 1,000. If you can go from 1 to 4, you're doing great.
Yep.
And if you go from 4 to 6 and then 6 to 7 and then 7 to 9, if you can just do that every day, you're going to be in a real good spot on October 15th.
And I think the big unlock, my last point is give yourself permission to work on your own stuff between 9 and 5. Branding yourself is not selfish. Putting out content in the world is not selfish. This isn't something that you need to work on from 10 at night till 2 in the morning. The fact that you and I gave each other permission to record a show on a Friday afternoon is huge to me. A year ago, I would have said, no, I can't do it. I need to do this. I need to do this. My list is piling up. My email is blowing up. My texts are blowing up. Everything's blowing up over here. But you and I have determined that doing this today is a really good use of our time. to invest in future business. So that is my last piece of advice. Give yourself permission, work on it, and just go do it.
And spoiler alert, there is no 9 to 5 right now. Nobody knows what time it is or what day it is or where you're supposed to be or what you're supposed to be doing. So fuck, man, if there's a time you're going to start it, this is it.
That's it. I got to go make grilled cheese for my kids. That's life in 2020, dude.
Here we are.
I appreciate everybody from watching. Dude, I appreciate you. You inspire me, and you keep pushing me, and I hope I do the same for you. And no matter what this turns into, I don't care, because it affects other parts of my life in a positive way, and for that, I'm very appreciative.
Likewise, my brother. This has been awesome. I am very excited about episode 12 or 13 or 11, whatever the next one.
Go Rangers. Ending live video now.
Whatever makes you feel better.